Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna. So, yesterday was Anjali Mataji's birthday. Tomorrow is Ananda Svarup Prabhu's birthday. And then yours truly is a party animal. Mine is New Year's Eve.
Oh, I thought it was today.
No. 31st.
31st.
So on when someone's birthday, Vedic system's different. That you're supposed to serve devotees instead of having everyone serve you. So I can serve everyone by
Krishna Katha.
Hari Katha. So the last chapter I translated Ramayana was chapter 43. So we're about we're about 60% done with the first canto, Balakanda. And this chapter is entitled The Descent of the Ganges River. Of course, the Ganges is especially dear to all Gaudiya Vaishnavas because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Panchatattva perform their pastimes on the banks of the Ganges. So I hope you'll like this chapter, hearing about the Ganges. In context of the Ramayana, where we are is the sage Vishwamitra. He went to Ayodhya to procure Ram so that Ram would come back and kill the Rakshasas who were disturbing his Agnihotra. Of course, Vishwamitra is such a powerful sage that he himself could have done that single-handedly. He didn't need Ram. So why does he take Ram?
Take the shelter of Godhead, Prabhu.
Yes. Well, and also so Ram will accept a guru. So it's even the guru-disciple relationship is such an important one that even the Supreme Lord himself comes and takes Guru Ashraya. That's how important it is. And is he doing it? Well, one, he's doing it for example, right? He doesn't need to learn from anyone. But he takes pleasure. We take pleasure taking shelter of a guru because that care and that attention, that's also like Vatsalya Ras. So Ram he derives pleasure in that way. And Vishwamitra takes care of him just like a son. So when Ram goes, he's I think he's 16 years old. He's 16 or 17. Of course, Dasharat didn't want him to go. But on the way, when they're traveling, if you know India, they're traveling down the Ganges, so they start in Ayodhya, and they're slowly going down this way to the southeast, following the Ganges as she flows. And along the way, when they finally get to the Ganges, because at first they were following the Sarayu. So once the Sarayu came and mixed with the Ganges, then Ram asked about the Ganges, and Vishwamitra then starts narrating the story. So this is one of those chapters. The sage Vishwamitra continued his narration as follows. O Ram, once Lord Brahma, the lord of the demigods, had departed, Bhagirat stood upon the tip of his toe for 1 full year and worshipped Lord Shiva. Upon the completion of 1 full year, Lord Shiva, the husband of Uma, who is venerated by all the worlds, spoke as follows to the king. O greatest of men, I'm very much pleased with you, and thus I shall do as you wish. I shall therefore hold the daughter of the king of mountains upon my head, because the Ganges is the daughter of Himalaya. At that time, the eldest daughter of Himalaya, who was honored throughout all the worlds, assumed a most extraordinary form, and thus, O Ram, she plunged down from the sky with an unbearable force upon Lord Shiva's head. Then Ganga Devi, who is nearly impossible to restrain, said to herself, taking hold of Lord Shiva with the currents of my waters, I shall enter into the netherworld. So the Ganges had an idea that she was going to show her might by taking hold of Lord Shiva and taking him down with her to the netherworld. The Ganges is known as Tripataga. We were talking about that the other day, remember? She who flows by three paths. Because she flows through the heavens, she flows on this earth, and then finally she goes to the netherworld, to Rasatala. The connection to the netherworld, of course, is the ocean. Because when the sons of Sagara were trying to find the sacrificial horse so their father could perform the ceremony, they dug into the netherworld, and that's where they found that horse by Kapila Muni. And that's why the ocean is called Sagara.
Saga, yes.
But when the powerful three-eyed Lord Shiva had discerned this pride within her, he at once became infuriated, and thus he made up his mind to conceal her. In this shloka, Shiva, there's a few nice words that refer to him. Of course, Bhagavan, because he's very powerful. Of the 64 qualities that Krishna possesses, Shiva, as an Ishvara, possesses 55. So he possesses 5 more qualities even that the ordinary living entities do not have. So, one, because a doubt may come into someone's head. Well, how could Shiva know that within her? Well, he's not an ordinary living entity. This is why he's referred to Bhagavan. Another word that's used to refer to him is Trinayana, three-eyed. So, he's very perceptive. We have 2 eyes, Shiva has 3. So he certainly could discern this pride within her. And thus, his job is to rectify the situation. Whenever sometimes the guru notices that pride has come into the heart of the disciple, and then it is his job to correct the disciple, to make sure that pride is removed, because it is a great stumbling block. And Shiva, who acts as a guru to all the worlds, he could see this pride within Ganga Devi, so it is his favor and his mercy to actually free her of it. You may be saying, well, this is the Ganges. How could she have pride within her? But this just shows you that these qualities are so strong that even these great elevated personalities,
Even Brahma had pride.
yeah, they're affected by them.
Materialistic qualities.
Yeah, but because they are, but this is the thing. Because they are so dear to the Lord, and if we're dear to the Lord, Krishna makes arrangements by which the pride can be removed. He takes special care. O Ram, that sacred river then descended upon the cavernous locks of matted hair, which were situated on top of the auspicious head of Lord Shiva, resembling in appearance the Himalayas.
Who?
Yes.
That's the portion in between or us at the end?
We can have questions in between,
Okay.
especially for you, Siddha.
I was wondering,
I would stop my car on the freeway to get a question from you. Of course, as long as no one gets hurt. Yes.
Prabhu, like you're saying, these qualities, pride or any other qualities which are not supposedly like what do you call godly qualities.
Yes.
But they can affect people like as Ganga Devi or even Brahma. So
Yes.
can we also say that these qualities sometimes act to increase the pleasure for Krishna by adding to the pastimes, like in this case of Rasa dance, gopis also develop some pride and then Krishna goes away.
Yeah.
So then how would you say that? Well, gopis don't have pride, so
Well, I guess in this case, how can you discern?
They do.
How can you discern between the two? That's your question.
I'm saying, is there a difference between the two? The pride which is being shown there and pride being shown here?
Yeah. Well, first, in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Vidura, Dambo,
Namo darpo vimanasya koda parushamevacha ajnanam cha vijatasya partha sampadama surim. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities, O son of Pritha, belong to those of demoniac nature.
Yeah. So if you hear that shloka, then you automatically think, well, pride necessarily is a demoniac quality, damba, and that's not favorable to devotional service. However, Krishna speak in that verse, he's referring to conditioned souls. The gopis, they are not conditioned souls. They are they're dear associates of Krishna, and even those that are not nitya siddha, say they're sadhana siddha or kripa siddha, nevertheless they have the association of Krishna and they're his dear associates. So anything they do, that's for the pleasure of Krishna, including manifesting pride. And he likes that. He likes that the gopis show some pride because it makes him have to work harder to please his devotees. Like the earlier Krishna Mataji was talking about Radharani not letting Jagannath enter Gundicha temple. So she's being haughty with him. How dare you come here? You left Braj, and now you want to come back? Why should I let you back? What does Krishna have to do? He has to work hard to please himself, and he takes pleasure in pleasing his devotees. Now, so her pride is only manifested to please Krishna. You may think, well, I can do that. But the problem is if we are not pure, and we're trying to basically interact with these three modes, well, one, we have to check what is our motivation. And if it's not pure, it's going to end up contaminating us. The mode of ignorance, it's very dangerous. It's like somebody, like a driver, say they're driving a truck full of gasoline or something. It's very powerful. But if any mistake is made, the whole thing's going to go up in flames. And when we're interacting with the mode of ignorance, if we don't use it carefully, it will come around and hurt us. So in general, we should try to avoid not just cultivating that quality, but even interacting with it as least as possible. And only in extreme circumstances should we do so. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and so in this case of Ganga Devi, which kind of pride is that? Is it coming out of material modes of
Yes.
nature?
Yes. Yeah, and we could tell that's material pride because Lord Shiva is a dear associate of Krishna, right? And her thing was to try to show and assert her power. This isn't the first time she's going to do it. She's going to do it again. So you're going to read about it in a few more shlokas. She didn't learn a lesson. And yeah, and that's also a lesson for if we get corrected, we should learn the first time, not have it happen a second time. Of course, it's all in the end, it's all beneficial because it enhances the pastime, and it makes and many other things manifest from it. But no matter how hard she tried to reach the earth, the Ganges were unable to get free from the ends of those matted locks. The goddess thus swirled about in those cavernous locks of hair for many years, and when Bhagirat Maharaj saw this, he once again took up the practice of severe penance. Lord Shiva was very much pleased by his great austerities, O descendant of Raghu, and so he released the Ganges in the direction of Lake Bindu Sarovara. 7 streams then appeared from the Ganges as she was being released. Thereafter, the auspicious and splendid waters of 3 of these rivers, the Hladini, the Pavani, and the Nalini, began to flow eastward. Another 3 of these splendid rivers, the Suchakshu, the Sita, and the mighty Sindhu, began to flow westward. And finally, the 7th river began to follow the chariot of Bhagirath. The 7th being what we refer to on this earth is the Ganges. See, at first, the Ganges is flowing through the heavenly planets. Then it comes to the head of Lord Shiva, and then it flows from there. What is the name of the Ganges when she flows in the heavenly planets?
Akashaganga, something like that.
Akashaganga. There's another name.
Manasaro, no, that's not it. No, Manasaro is
You remember it, dear?
Although I feel like I should.
Yeah, I can't remember right now. You're stuck too, huh?
Yeah.
The saintly King Bhagirath, situated on his divine chariot, then began to move forward, and thereupon the powerful Ganges River began to follow him. Consider how great Bhagirath Maharaj is, that the Ganges is following him.
Mm-hmm.
Thus the Ganges descended from the sky and fell upon the head of Lord Shiva. From there it then flowed down to the earth, and that is where its waters rushed forth, accompanied by a tumultuous roar.
Oh, it's a confusion. So first she was in the head of Lord Shiva, and then she again fell into the head of Shiva.
No, this is like a summary.
Oh.
That's why I said thus. Because it's kind of like, you know what I could have also translated? I could have said, and so it was that the Ganges. You want me to change it? No, it would make
Just say yes to her.
As long as his name goes in the credits.
Yeah. Edited by Sinahari Das. And so it was. Okay, let's read that again now. With correction made by Sinahari. That's why I carry this red pen when I read these chapters. Because the best way to fix it is in front of an audience now. All right, let's try it again. And so it was that the Ganges descended from the sky and fell upon the head of Lord Shiva. From there it then flowed down to the earth, and that is where its water... Let's say waters. Which one's
Waters.
Yeah.
Yeah, water.
And that's where its waters rushed forth, accompanied by a tumultuous roar. Does that sound better? Clarify? Okay, good.
Her waters, her wife.
Yeah, so I put it. As a result, the earth was radiant due to the vast number of fish, turtles, crocodiles, and other aquatic animals that were falling down, as well as due to those that had already fallen down. When you're translating this, you can't sometimes fully, when you're reading the translation, you can't sometimes fully appreciate the beauty of the poetry. For example, here the word for crocodile, Shimshumara.
Mm-hmm.
You know what does that mean? Think about
Thick-skinned and
No, Mara. Think of first Mara. What does Mara mean?
killer.
Killer of Shimshu.
Oh,
Children.
children. Oh, okay.
Shimshumara, one who kills children.
That's not the literal translation of crocodile.
That's in Sanskrit. That's the literal translation. One who kills little children. Yeah. Isn't it? But it's like that. In Sanskrit, all the different animals, their names have specific meanings. What are you doing here?
Go back.
Aren't you supposed to be going on to Florida?
Well, the plans changed a little bit, so I decided,
So welcome, sir.
oh wow.
It's like,
What are you?
ladies and gentlemen, Vitalik.
Well, if you make such a loud announcement, I'm gonna give you a present. I wanted to just sneak in, but this is
You guys want to
Nobody
see?
their
noticed.
beloved.
Haribo!
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh,
Beautiful.
that's something to interrupt class. Okay. You sticking around?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Very good. Yeah, so all the different animals, they have, you know, you can really study the different names and get a lot. All the different, that's what Prabhupada, one time I was reading. He said, Sanskrit is such a beautiful language that each word has very specific and deep meaning. There was one, is it Schopenhauer? See, Swedish philosophy, and Emerson talks about this, the doctrine of correspondence. Each word represents natural facts, and all natural facts represent spiritual truths. You really see that in Sanskrit. The earth from the sky, the demigods, sages, Gandharvas, Yakshas, and host of Siddhas looked on. Thus at that time even the demigods who had gathered there with their celestial airplanes as big as cities, horses, and splendid elephants became delirious. So the demigods, they're watching all this, that the Ganges just rushing down, and the word here exactly in Sanskrit is pariplava gataha, which means that which goes pariplava.
Turbulent flow.
What? Yeah, like a boat. So boat is always rocking. So the demigods are like that. They've become like a boat. In other words, that it's just they're completely shaken up by watching all this water rush forth, and just, you know, countless numbers of aquatic animals are pouring down onto the earth. Mm-hmm. And so it was that the unlimitedly powerful host of demigods came forward, desiring to see the wonderful and magnificent descent of the Ganges in this world. Now here, if you could read it in Sanskrit, you could read this. It's beautiful poetry. The cloudless sky was thus blazing like 100 suns, on account of the host of hastening demigods, as well as due to the splendor of their ornaments. So all the demigods, they're so radiant that as they're in the sky coming forth, they're like thousands of suns, and also all the jewels on their body is glowing at this time. At that time the sky also seemed as if it was filled with scattered lightning on account of the multitudes of twisting crocodiles, serpents, and fish. So just like the lightning streaks, so all these aquatics are falling down, but as they fall, they're all twisting as they fall.
Can you read that one in Sanskrit, please, Prabhu?
The last one?
The sky is blazing.
Oh, that one? Because of the demigods?
Yeah.
Sampat bi sura ganais tesham cha bharanau jasa shatadityam ivhabhati gaganam gatatoyadam. And I like that, gatatoyadam.
That's why I wanted to get that word.
Cloudless. The sky in which the toya, the clouds have they've gone. Toya means that which bears water. Mm-hmm. Being covered over by a multitude of swans and innumerable torrents of light frothy waves which were pouring down. We need a camera here. The sky appeared as if it was covered over by autumnal clouds. So the sky, there's all these swans, because the swans carry the demigods, right? Mm-hmm. And so there were so many of them that the whole sky was covered over, that it was like the sky in autumn, which always has clouds. At some places the river flowed swiftly, while at other places it moved along rather slow. Then again at some places the river was broad, while at other places its course was twisted. In addition, at some places the river was sunk below its banks, while at other places it was overflowing them. Here and there the water would crash back upon itself, and after being suddenly thrust upward, it would fall back down to earth once more. At that time the water, which had first descended upon the head of Lord Shiva, and then again upon the surface of the earth, thus shone forth, for it was pure and free from any impurities. The host of sages, Gandharvas, and residents of the earth then thought to themselves, "This water, which has fallen off the body of Lord Shiva, is indeed holy." And so they took bath there. we often think about the holy water, the different rivers that they're holy in themselves. You know, they're pure. Especially like the Ganges, it directly touches the foot of Lord Vamanadev and then flows to the earth. And it, from the Viraja River. But consider this, that it's also made holy because of all the different great devotees that touch that water, including Lord Shiva. So anyone who is smart doesn't pass up prasadam. Yes.
Also, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to bath in Ganga.
Yeah.
Prabhu, are you saying that there was a time when there was no water?
On earth?
Yes.
No, there is water, but not the Ganges.
I thought that you just said that at that moment the aquatics manifested.
There have been other aquatics as well, but no. These are the aquatics that are coming with the Ganges at that time. But yeah, no, there had been.
Is it a myth that all the water on the earth comes from Ganga?
No.
No, I mean there would have been water here before.
Okay.
Not sanctified and not drinkable and not worshipable and not holy.
Well, I don't know if I'd necessarily say that.
Because 3/4 of the Pangea was covered with salt water, Prabhu, and which was not basically austere, except for when Lord took the Varaha Avatara and tried to save the world. And that water was not humanly consumable because of its salinity. And the theory goes behind saying that when Ganges descended to the earth, it brought in all the several freshwater lifestyles, and also with that it could support land and nutrition, and therefore it also has another meaning called the river which gives fertility or life for plants and people.
Okay, then here's the question. What water were the living entities on earth drinking before that then?
Not purified water, that's what I'm saying. I mean, not austere water which was blessed heavenly.
Yeah, but I mean there had been some fresh water though on that time.
Yeah, some
'Cause they-
rivers wouldn't have been able to perform
Rains.
sacrifices if there wasn't.
Yeah.
Some water bodies collected by rains
Could there have been other rivers flowing down from the Himalayas as well? Could be.
because of ice melting.
Yeah. Now, were there other holy waters at this time? I'm not sure.
That is the oldest.
Anyway,
Ganges is
then
the
the
oldest.
process of evaporation of water, then clouds, is purify the water already.
Well,
The
scientifically, yes.
salty water,
Yeah,
so that there was no need for any other water. For
scientifically
survival.
your theory is right, Prabhu, but that purified water, I mean that water which is evaporated from the seas is not touched by Lord Shiva. It is not flowing through the feet of Lord Vamanadeva.
Yes, I say this is holy. But I'm saying, was there other holy water at the time? I do not know.
Like Yamuna or Saraswati, they were there or not?
There are branches of the Ganges.
Yamuna and Saraswati
Yeah,
both?
Yamuna and Saraswati are
Yeah.
branches of the Ganges.
I heard about the before the ocean is not salty water. Agastya Muni they did.
Mm.
Agastya Muni drink the whole ocean. Too much request demigod and they come through the pea. That's why they have salty water.
Oh.
No, this is glory.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Pagani.
Can I just say one thing?
Yes, Partha.
Then, why would Bhagwan put unholy water on earth?
Why would he put unholy?
He's saying that the water before the Ganga was unholy. So what I'm saying is that when he...
Oh, Prithu. All right, well. No, not necessarily unholy. You know,
Impure. Not mineral water.
No, not necessarily sanctified. Let's say that.
Not beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, it would have. The water, you would have had to have water there on the earth, because you cannot do sacrifices unless there's water, and the living entities have to have water to live. Now, someone may ask the question: were living entities living on earth before the Ganges descended? Yes, that says it in this chapter. There's one verse where we read a while ago where it said, "The demigods and the residents of the earth came." So that means there were living entities living on the earth at
Life
this time.
started in water first, then it came to land, Prabhu.
Yes, Balguni?
I was wondering, you said earlier that three places, and you said instead of saying I don't understand the material world, you said Earth. So is it only Earth? Because you didn't say.
Oh, she starts off in the heavenly planets, and she flows down, and then she comes to the Earth.
Okay.
And then from the Earth, she goes to Rasatala, which is.
Okay, so I thought you said the spiritual world, so I was thinking the spiritual world she's coming down, and then I was confused because I was like, well, isn't she in the?
Oh, well, here, when Lord Vamanadev, remember when he extends his feet, his toe cracks the covering of the universe, and so the Ganges flows in from the spiritual world.
Oh, I see.
From the river which is called Viraja River, which is on the border between the material and the spiritual world. So she comes from there. Those who had fallen down to earth from heaven as a result of a curse also became freed from their sins after bathing there. Now free once more from their sins and endowed with all auspiciousness due to that sacred water, they entered into the sky and so returned to their own abodes. After bathing in the Ganges, the people of this world become free from all sins, and thus they are joyful on account of that splendid water. So to kind of answer your question, Partha, there was no river at this time that someone could bathe in and acquire such piety. But when the Ganges was down, we could see that. Let me read the exact Sanskrit. Gata Kalmashaha, all of one's.
Gata Kalmashaha.
Yeah, their kalmas means impurities. It's gata, it's gone. Gone away. And well, someone may question that. They may say, does that only mean like dirt? If you want to be debate, but we all know the fact is that the Ganges is spiritual, so it's not just external filth that the Ganges purifies, but also internal.
Bring the Ganges, Bhagirath Muni.
Yes.
And I mean, to be putting it in a jovial way, there was no Aquafina before that, and Ganges was the new Aquafina. Mineral water.
Seated in his divine chariot, the powerful and saintly King Bhagirath moved ahead, and the Ganges proceeded to follow him from behind. O Ram, this is Vishwamitra, he's talking to Ram as this about the story. O Ram, all the demigods, along with the host of sages, Daityas, Danavas, Rakshashas, chiefs amongst the Gandharvas and Yakshas, Kinnaras, powerful serpents, snakes, and Apsaras, delightfully followed the Ganges from behind the chariot of Bhagirath, accompanied by all of the aquatic creatures. So, Bhagirath's in front, and he's moving down to the ocean. The Ganges is flowing, and now all the demigods have come, and they're following. So it's a big procession. Whichever direction King Bhagirath would move, the illustrious Ganges, the greatest of rivers and the destroyer of all sins, would follow. Now here, so someone could question that assertion a few shlokas back, that kalmash means just material impurity. But here we have a clarification. Sarva papa pranashini. Sarva means all. So someone could question, Jamavan, how dare you translate in shloka 32 that it's free from all sins? You're putting words in, and that's not true. But no, we have it here that it is all sins, sarva papa, and we have the word pranashini, which means destroyer, pranash, to destroy.
I mean, destroy, pranash, is it destroy, or do you want to say eradicate? Wouldn't eradicate be a better word, Prabhu, there? Pranashini.
Now you're splitting hairs.
Okay, if you want it that way, okay.
We could say eradicator. I put destroyer. You wanted to
water and aqua, same thing.
You understand the word? It's Strilinga.
Pranashini.
Yeah, it was pranashin. in Karanta, that which has can do pranasha.
Yeah, that's a pure Sri Lanka there, and Ekvachan, so
Yeah,
pranashini.
but it's coming from the Dhatu Nash with Uprasaga pra. So
Yeah, prasarga is pra. Yeah.
thereafter, the Ganges began to inundate. Here's the second mistake of the Ganges. Thereafter, the Ganges began to inundate the sacrificial field of the exalted sage Janu, the performer of marvelous deeds, who was officiating as a priest. So Janu Maharaj had a field where he was doing yajna at, and the Ganges just plowed through that field. Janu is not happy. Coming to know about the audacity of her behavior. That took me a while to come up with that audacity. Janu was infuriated, and thus in a most extraordinary manner, O descendant of Raghu, drank all of her water.
Can you teach me what do you mean by audacity? I didn't follow there.
Audacity.
Yeah, what does that term? I mean, like
It's like
The nerve.
the nerve. Yeah. Yeah.
daring.
Yeah. What's the word in Yiddish? You had the chutzpah.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Get it. Yeah, okay.
I was trying to think of a witty example.
Like this.
No. You
Her guts to show.
no. You go to a born again Christian church and you have a shirt on that says "Yes, I am burning in hell."
Without shame. Shameless.
Yeah, just shame. Like you're doing
Got
it's.
it. Okay. Two down to
You know people are. It's like people are gonna may take umbrage with what you're doing, but still like I'm gonna do it.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Vidura.
What about all the fish and stuff in the water?
What about all of them? Did they go with her?
No, she wants to know, did Janu Maharaj
Swallow them. I'm not sure.
He filtered them out, I guess.
Well, as we keep on reading, maybe it'll say something. Let's see. As a result, so you gotta imagine all the demigods are. Think of Bhagirath Maharaj. This has been such an endeavor for him to get the Ganges down to earth. First, he had to do austerity, and then he gets her to come down. Then she's flowing. Shiva puts, conceals her on his head. So he's got to do more austerity. Now she's flowing again, and now here it is. And on top of that, it had been his father had been doing austerities for years to get the Ganges to come down, and he passed away without even ever being successful. So this whole process to try to get the Ganges to go down is multi-generational, that these generations of family have been doing austerities to try to get her to come down. And it's finally, he's been successful. You can imagine the how disheartened he is. Like at this point, we're almost there to the ocean. Because when the Ganges will come to the ocean, she'll go down to the netherworld where the ashes of his forefathers are, and as soon as those ashes are bathed with the water of the Ganges, then they'll go to heaven. But not until then.
Mm-hmm. So the motivation by Bhagirath was doing the penances was only his forefathers, because he could have just separated for his forefathers' liberation. But I mean, can we say that he was more intense? He was like, he also had a desire to help other living entities also in that regard. Is it maybe mentioned there?
Yeah. So far from what I've read, I've not, because obviously the concomitant result that comes with the Ganges coming down is not just that his forefathers are benefited, but that every living entity on earth benefits from having the Ganges come down. So was that also his intention? The Ramayana does not tell us that. It could have been. At least all I know is that his intention was to benefit his family members. But of course, when you think about it, if someone is dharmic and righteous and is doing things to benefit their family in a selfless manner, then ultimately all of society benefits. So the nice way of looking at it, is Vedic culture is designed in such a way that
No change.
you when you look out for one living entity, other living entities are benefited because Dharma is maintained. Yes, Bhakti Max, you got a question about that?
No, but I was just going to say an analogy that finding a cure for a particular disease, you know, that probably your families.
Yes, everyone will benefit. Yeah, so that's it. As a result, the demigods. But before I read this, I'll say this: you can see that a lot of good questions do come just from reading this. That the answers may not all, or for one, may not always be apparent immediately, and two, it does make you think. It's the Ramayana is not just a story. There's a lot of deep truth there that we'll try to elucidate in the commentary, but a lot of it I don't know. A lot more research has to be done. So that's why when you're commenting upon Shastra, there's so much that's not said that has to come out later on. And I mean, when you think about it, for example, Damodarashtaka, when that was written, who's the sage who wrote Damodarashtaka?
Satyavrat Muni.
Yeah, Satyavrat Muni. When he wrote it, he had to do austerities for many years to have those realizations. So you do austerities, then write one shloka, then do more than another one. We just said, oh, there's 8 shlokas. But how much austerity comes in order to give forth realization? And how much more can be said or commented upon the Ramayana in time? As a result, the demigods, Gandharvas, and sages were all highly astonished, and thus they began to worship the powerful Janu Rishi, that greatest of men. Thereafter they conferred upon the Ganges the honor of being the exalted sage's daughter. So, I use the word confer, the honor, they conferred that honor upon her. She's not actually his daughter, right? She is the daughter of the Himalaya. But it's like she's an honorary daughter. And why is it? Because the Ganges then comes out of him. And the exact name of a son in Sanskrit is Sutta, and daughter is Sutta, which literally means that which flows out. So since she is literally going to flow out of him, she's like a daughter. So what is her name? Jahnavi. The powerful and exalted Rishi was thus satisfied, and so he released her from his 2 ears. And since the Ganges issued forth from the sage Janu, she is therefore called Jahnavi. The Ganges then once again moved forward, following the chariot of Bhagirath, and thereupon she came to the ocean. At that time the mighty river entered into the netherworld, and thus at last the king's mission was accomplished. Because his siddhi-artham, his artha was siddhi, was accomplished. Yet even after bringing the Ganges there with such great effort, when the saintly king Bhagirath saw that his forefathers had been reduced to ashes, he was beside himself. Ooh. I missed translating a word for word.
Which one, Prabhu?
Beside himself. Gata Chaitanaha.
That's just a typo, right?
What?
You just didn't type it there, right? That's all.
Yeah, I didn't type it there. Chaitana means mind. So literally it means his mind was gone. He was out of his mind.
He became mad.
What?
He became mad.
Well, here's the problem. There are many ways you can translate this word.
Sanskrit.
Gata Chaitana can also mean he fainted. See, this is the thing. When you translate one word, you got to pick a meaning.
Wonderstruck.
Yeah, it could have been wonderstruck. I mean, there's 5 different ways you can say this. I don't know. I was not there. I can't verify if he fainted. He may have. But because it has shades of meaning, I had to pick one, and I feel that was the kind of safest one that's open to interpretation. What does it mean beside himself?
So you took a lottery and then best word, put it there.
No, But I mean, one thing that I really think about in terms of that pastime is, imagine this: these are not forefathers he ever met. Bhagirath Maharaj never met these. These were his uncles. These were not even his. These were not. It wasn't his father. It wasn't his grandfathers. These were uncles. But just imagine in a dharmic society how dear one's forefathers are. Why are they dear? Because they are the ones that have preserved tradition and given us a tradition of culture by which we can extricate ourselves from material bondage. So, even though he never met them, he is overwhelmed thinking they did all this. They came here on the order of their father, and on the order of their father, they lost their lives. And he feels emotional that now I am going to be able to do an honor that my father never was able to do for these uncles. Yes, Vidura?
What happened to his father? Did he go up to heaven when he died?
I'm thinking that's in the last chapter. I believe so. I believe he did go to heaven after he passed away. We could read back the other chapter though to find out. The water of the Ganges then proceeded to wash over that mound of ashes, and thus at last the sons of King Sagara, purified of their sins, obtained heaven. The next chapter you'll find out that Lord Brahma will tell Bhagirath. Here, we'll give you a sneak preview of the next chapter. He will actually tell Bhagirath that as long as the ocean stays here on the earth, remains on the earth, the sons of King Sagara will stay in the heavens.
So if the ocean ever goes away, then
Yeah, but when is it going to?
this section of the earth.
Yeah, so how long are the sons of King Sagara going to stay in the heavens and enjoy?
Long time.
Yeah, and why? Why should they get that honor? Because look at all the living entities, I mean, we can't even count, who have now benefited because the Ganges has come to this earth due to their activities. So we'll stop here. Is there any other questions? I know we had some as we went through the chapter. Any questions or comments about this chapter?
Just a quick comment, like I was thinking that when Maharaj did this for his forefathers, he was sharing that it's a dharmic society. So whatever he did according to dharma benefited everybody else also. So like dharma for this age is Sankirtan Agya, and if we engage in that, everybody gets benefit.
Yes.
Yeah. Even though we may not see the result, but later on everybody gets the result, like gets the benefit.
Yeah, it's what do you call this? It's in economics. When you do one thing and then you get unintentional byproducts that I can't remember the words. No, Hanuman. Where is he? He's studying macroeconomics right now, and he would know the word. But that's what's happening here, is that it's not just you benefit, but everyone benefits. So it behooves people to not engage in a dharmic behavior. This goes to a good point. I was talking with the kids the other day. We'll talk about rules and dharma, and then someone will always bring up, well, what about this? What about this? Okay, those are exceptions. We should first deal with rules, then we'll deal with exceptions. Otherwise, if we just deal with the exceptions, then no one has to follow any rules. Well, I'm like this and I'm like this, so no one follows anything. We should. It's rules are there, and now the question is, why are those rules there? Well, this is how we generally can judge if something's good or bad. If you take something and say, if everyone did this, would the world be better off? or if everyone did this, would the world be worse? And it generally becomes pretty clear if something is dharmic, because if everyone would do it, everything would be beneficial. And one way you can see that is, with Sankirtan Yajna. If everyone's performing Yajna, then everything is beneficial. Just like, you do a Yajna, you do a fire Yajna, and what happens in the evening?
Rain.
The rain comes. Right? Like after the last Yajna we did. You remember that? At Krishna House. So the rain was there in the evening. I remember I was listening. I was like, it came, And people are astounded. How can we get water to fall? And California's having drought problems. Well, we need to go down there and do more yajnas. And someone may think that's simplistic. I don't think it is. I think it's very simple. That's the formula that's given there. Anything else?
Is there a reason Earth was chosen?
Well, like as opposed to other planets for the Ganges? Good question. Well, in externally looking at the story, it's not so much the Earth was chosen, but that Bhagirath was there, and his descendants or his forefathers had been living on the Earth.
Okay.
So that's why. But another good reason though to look at it is to question why is the Earth. So, well, think of it this way: the Ganges is very favorable for spiritual activities, right? And why is the Earth important for spiritual activities? And this goes to question. No, you're being bad. That you asked, remember, Shauna, some time ago? You're saying about, can you go to the spiritual world from heaven or hell like this? Generally, the easiest place to obtain going back to Godhead is up from Earth, and for a few reasons. Dear, can you take him? He's kind of here. I'll pass him along. Just pass the kid down that way till she gets to his mother. Yeah. Go on, little guy. On the heavenly planets, material enjoyment is such, and in such profuse quantity, that people don't have interest in excuse me, going back to Godhead. On the hellish planets, people are suffering so much that they can't even conceive or think about anything to that degree. But on the Earth, it's favorable. The suffering is not too much for most people. It's not too much, and it's not too little. It's just right. It's enough that it's not so much that you can go on with your day-to-day life for most of us, but at the same time, it's not so little that we forget that this place is miserable. You'll have one good day where life is good. I'm doing okay. And then the next day you're stuck in a horrible traffic jam for an hour and you think, God, I can't wait. When I die, I never want to come back to this miserable place again. And so it is important, though, that the Ganges is here on Earth, because the Ganges is especially favorable for spiritual life. Not just because you need water to do yagas, but also she provides a means by which we can be absolved of sins, so that way we can make spiritual progress. In an even higher sense, she gives pleasure to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and by him giving pleasure, we all derive pleasure by being part of his Harinam Sankirtan Lila. Anything else? All right, you guys ready for the feast? Shri Valmiki Ramayana ki Jai. Vaishnav Thakur ki Jai. Or Pramandi.